think we're live. I don't know. Hey, I guess we're live. Hey, everyone. Andrew Hall, Big Zebra with John Hudson right there in the
Oh,
first
hey,
in the
John
place
Hudson.
of firstises, and Marmaduke Scarlet in the place of secondises.
Mm.
And my cat's at the door trying to. Well, all right.
We'll let her in.
I'm gonna let the cat in, everyone. I'll be right back. I'm gonna let the biscuit in. You got the floor, Big Zeb. I'll be right back.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so the cat's in, and this is exciting. And of course, she wants nothing to do with me. She's just kind of
No.
hanging around the room.
Well, they hate having doors closed and closet doors closed. They want access to everywhere.
Everywhere, all the time. That's what it is.
And that's why cats sing that Everywhere song by Johnny Cash. I've been
Oh,
everywhere, man.
I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere. That's right. I haven't thought about
Hmm.
that for a long time.
Oh, it's probably the most brilliant road song because wherever you're playing, you can whip up some verses for whatever city you're in.
Oh, right,
And,
right, right,
yeah,
right, right.
and everyone feels special. So, is your cat going to make an appearance?
See, I tried, but Biscuit refuses to be captured. She saw I was
All
going
right.
in. She saw
Well,
that I was going in.
she doesn't want her 15 minutes of fame. To hell
She
with
does
her.
not. Oh, so Sammy looks like he's ready. He had to prepare himself, and so Sam looks like with horns.
Oh,
Shadow.
Thank you
hey.
for waiting, sir. That was very kind of you.
Yeah. I saw that you
Shadow.
had to prepare. I didn't want to bring you on screen too early.
Is that a giant screen behind you there, Mr. 420?
No, it's just vertical blinds.
Oh, okay. Well, I like the shadow horns. They're my favorite.
Shadow horns are pretty cool. I like the shadow horns. There's nothing wrong with shadow horns. You did, Cindy. See, the cat just keeps coming over here, and she wants attention. It gives the impression. She gives the impression that she wants attention.
Right.
Oh, but she doesn't want to be picked up. See, she
Mm.
nothing. So, that lunatic woman out in Idaho, the lieutenant
Can
governor,
you be more specific?
McGeekin, I believe her last name is. We covered her on the show a couple of days ago. She was the one who was the Christian nationalist, and one of like the super Christian nationalists, just saying the Christian nationalist stuff out loud. But she lost her primary. She was going to be governor. She's lieutenant governor right now,
Yeah.
so she lost her election. So that's positive.
So that was a primary.
That was a primary, yeah.
Yeah.
She's the one that shoots Bibles and reads guns.
That's exactly it. She is the one. Yeah, what is it? Oh, Janice McGeekin. That's right.
At
Janice
the same
McGeekin.
time.
Well, she's talented, multi-talented. Now let's see Tobin's here too.
And if I remember correctly from the picture, whilst driving a vehicle.
She was.
Yeah, it was like an army truck or something.
Well, yeah, some kind of truck. She had to virtue signal to the rednecks and hillbillies, but she's one of them. So yeah.
Good morning, Tobin.
Hello.
Yes. Good morning, sir. How are you?
All right.
I like the green, Tobin. I like the green. Not a lot of people can handle the green, I think, but it doesn't give you that Hulk vibe, but more of a hey, I'm here, I'm green, I'm okay with that.
I like green things. Things that are green, they are very natural and you know, and also like the movement, to be green, I also like messing. Yeah, marijuana. Yeah.
Yeah, in Canada, they often create flags that look like the Canadian flag, but they have a marijuana leaf instead of a maple leaf.
I've seen those. I've seen those.
Yeah.
Those are pretty good.
And no one complains about desecration of the flag or anything, so it's pretty positive.
That's good. Yeah. Well, yeah, I think there's because you have a functioning government up there as against to the semi-functional government or anti-function. Maybe the United States of America has an anti-functional government. I think that's probably more the case than not. But I think that probably the less functional government you have, if you're going to graph it out, the more people are into the flag. You know,
Mm.
the more people are into the flag and desecration of that kind of stuff.
By the way, there's something weird happening in Canada that you might enjoy hearing
So what's
about. Well, you know how, unlike in the U.S., a lot of parliamentary democracies can have minority governments
Oh yeah.
as you have more than two parties.
You know, Big Zebra, you're going to have to kind of okay, so just to explain, minority government is that a minority government, and tell me if I if I understand this properly, you parliamentarian democracies out there, is that you can have a minority government if you are in a coalition with other parties,
Exactly.
and you get more than 50% of the total vote, basically, between
And
all
that's
your
what
states.
I'm suffering through right now.
You got a minority
Yes,
government.
they can be very bad, but they can also be good, because in Canada, there are two issues that the Liberal governments have promised or say, oh, yes, we're looking into it, we're talking about it, and that would be pharmacare, so that drugs are paid for under a national scheme, and dental care, where it's a national scheme for dental care. And the Liberals always say they're looking into it, but somehow it never really happens. And so in order to gain support from the NDP to stay in government, they have agreed to make it happen.
Oh, wow.
And if they don't, the NDP will pull their support, which I think is great. I just, maybe I'll vote NDP next time. I don't know.
Yeah. You know, interesting. Well, you know, that I want to back up before I get into Nazis for a minute, because it always goes back to Nazis with me.
Yes.
But so right now, dental is not part of the universal health care you guys have up there.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
So right now, dental is not included in universal health care in Canada.
It is
Dental care is not included.
Yeah. How about in Australia, Sammy?
Yeah.
It is included?
Now, you will wait for 2 years, easy.
Oh my God.
But it's free.
Yeah.
So.
Sure. And in Australia, there is and like in many places that have universal health care, and tell me if I'm wrong on this, there is the basic universal health care. And then if you have the money, you can pay for private insurance. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And what our government does, so when we pay tax, we also pay a Medicare levy, which, you know, is fair enough. It's about $700 for the average person who makes over, I think, like $80,000 a year or something. Now, you can not pay that by having private health insurance.
Right.
So it's a trade-off. They're like, well, you can have the free stuff if you pay for the good stuff. Which is meant to take the burden off. But I pay for healthcare, and I still use the free system.
Sure. Yeah.
It's just as good.
I can see that. Interesting. Well, you know, yeah, it seems like if you're because dental care can be very expensive. It's here in this, of course, everything is expensive when it comes to medical care in the States, but dental care, you know, root canals, whatever, you know, they can break you financially. That's why you have so many people without a tooth here.
And actually,
It's crazy.
You've made me remember, actually, when the government brought out that it would not charge you the Medicare levy if you get private health insurance. That was a liberal idea, right? And I remember the argument was, oh, that's the Labor government just lining the pockets of the insurance companies because it's getting everyone to go and get private health insurance. And it just, I never realized back then about how the one act can be so divisive and be seen from such polar positions. It's the same. It's literally helping people out in one aspect, but you could look at it as though, well, this is incentivizing people to go and get private health. So, are the pollies getting kickbacks?
Yeah. Well, the real tragedy is that it incentivizes teeth. And if there isn't one of the greatest sins of society, it's teeth.
That's the answer.
You can make anything. You can make anything divisive if you're really creative enough. You can make anything divisive. Like teeth. What have they really done for you lately? Now you're just going to be, if you're going to really promote teeth, who gets kickbacks? The big food companies. That's who. The big food companies. And you don't want that. You don't want that.
I like 420's notion of calling politicians pollies.
Oh, that's just going to create far more problems than it's worth.
Yeah, we have to abbreviate everything. We're so lazy. Pollies. Takes too long to say politician.
Right.
And it also, to me personally, I think that it demeans them a little bit.
Oh yeah.
They're just a poly.
Yeah. You're not saying that they are. That is not a term of respect. Poly. I mean that. Yeah.
Hey, can I share something stupid with the class?
I like stupid. What?
Well, I really enjoy making stupid comments on YouTube videos, not as a harassment campaign, but just really silly stuff that doesn't make a lot of sense. So recently, someone produced a video on lost space colonies, and it was about how in the future we may lose track of space colonies. We may never hear back from them, and these are the consequences of what a future might look like.
Okay.
So I wrote in the comment, so I was going to find all those lost space colonies, but then things got crazy busy at work. And this is a repeating joke. It's sort of a running gag that I do.
Right.
And it sometimes triggers wonderful comments from others. And you end up with these amazingly long comment threads. And one of them said, wait, I think there is an ant in the neighbor's yard down the street. I'd better go see, or I could have a sandwich. So I responded with, I vote for sandwich, always vote sandwich. But I just, there's so much joy I find in this stupid shit. That
you got to take joy where you can. If I'm going to do my, my trite sayings, it would be, you got to take joy where you can.
But can I say that you're making the joys, Big Z?
Yes. And it's just lovely when you get a sort of little sub-environment in the comments section of a YouTube video.
Do you feel like it's your baby?
A little bit, and I actually have a YouTube video section called Keep Comment, so I can go back and see if there are new comments about the comment, and how many upvotes I get. Strangely, the one thing I did that wasn't funny got the most upvotes. It was an onion video, and I commented on how the actors were wonderful and that they're all gems.
And what kind of how did that start off? I mean, what?
Oh, it was this wonderful. I can find the video for you if you're interested. It was this wonderful video about an Onion video where they're at a news desk,
Mm-hmm.
and
Oh, yeah.
the news desk was the subject had to do with a situation in an African nation and how this revolution, pending revolution, could affect other things. And it was obvious that no one on the panel knew a damn thing about it, and were awkwardly trying to keep the conversation going.
Sure. Right.
And,
were they all white people?
Yes, I think they were, which is true to the thing they're parroting.
Right. Yeah. I was watching Fareed Zakaria. He does a show on Sunday mornings here, and he had a woman from The Economist on. I think her first name is Zany, Zany, Z-A-N-Y, and she's magic. She's an older woman. She's been working in the business for years, and they had someone who was not impressive. Guy who just has a new book out, and they were talking about Ukraine, and she was able to very politely tell him that he was full of shit. And I'm like, wow, that was like, she didn't even reference him. She was just talking, and unless you were like really listening, the girlfriend and I were watching. It's like, I think she just said he's full of shit.
I love it.
Cool. Zanny. Yeah. Do you know, I was a long time ago, so could have been woo for all I know, but I was reading something about a study done into the effects your name has on you.
Yeah.
Apparently there are actual effects that certain names can have. And I had found that people of similar names have had similar traits that perhaps I didn't like or did like,
Right.
Other Sammys that I've known, like I've known Sams and Samuels, but people who are specifically Sammy, for example, which I never called myself and didn't like at the beginning, but for some reason, everyone just bestows upon me. So I eventually went, fuck it, I'll go remember Sammy Jenkins.
Right.
And embraced the Sammy. But other Sammys that I've met since then are I've found similar to myself.
Interesting.
And I imagine, the reason I said that is I imagine that Zanny would be a firecracker.
Oh, she's freaking hilarious. She makes the rounds on a lot of I was joking with the girlfriend about this, is that Zanny, the woman who was on the show, she hasn't I think her nose sat in the House of Lords for a number of years. She had one of those aristocratic noses.
Just a nose.
Yes or no's, right? But there is, all joking aside, there is a study that was in the original Freakonomics books about the it was a study, scientific study, and I'm sure most of you have already heard about this, about people who have quote unquote typical African names, like names that right. And you can see where this is going. So they had two resumes, exactly the same content, except that there'd be some generic white person's name, like Andrew Hall, at the top of it. And then you'd have someone who had a very different name that was, made you think, oh, they're black, right?
Like Shaniqua Robinson or something.
Something like that. And the amount of replies and responses from the quote unquote typical white guy name got far higher responses than the person who had the quote unquote typical black person's name.
Yeah. You know, an interesting variable I would like to see is putting a Shaniqua as the person doing the
hiring.
Sorry, yes, get people of odd names to do the hiring and see if they are also susceptible to this. Maybe
now that's
is it a societal bias?
Oh.
that's a bit of dark magic right there. Yeah. I think if I think that the results of that study could crush my heart. I think that's what it could do.
No.
Because that's interesting though. I would be curious about that too.
I have problems with people named James. It's really strange. It's like not all of them throughout my life have I had a problem with, and I try my best to not have a problem with James, but for some reason, like I have these strange moments with people named James, like uncool moments.
That's a book title right there, man.
Strange moments with people named James. That is not the name of your biography.
What a wonderful book title. I used to work in publishing, and I'd buy that book.
Yes, so would I.
Richards for me. I have to tell you, I don't think I have any one particular name I have an issue with. Maybe that's because people have had so many issues with me. Maybe that's why. Maybe I'm someone's Andy or Andrew or Drew. Maybe I'm one of. I think that's probably it right there.
Have you ever noticed that you're often hated just by walking into a room?
Well, some people are just going to dislike you for
like on the spot.
Yeah. Some people are just going to dislike you for whatever reason, and some people are going to like you for whatever silly reason too.
Well, speaking of names and hating people, how's this for a good segue? I don't know. They probably have them in the States. You have everything, but they now have them in Australia. And one of my participants wants to go. Why? I don't know. But it's a Karen restaurant where you are served by Karens. They abuse you. Like,
wow.
They treat you horribly.
Wow.
And he's so G'd up to go.
I would be curious. I'd be curious about what that whole vibe is.
Yeah.
It sounds like it could be really funny.
Yeah. If I choose to go myself with him just for the experience, which I don't think I want to, I'll make sure to film it so you can check it out.
Yeah. Cindy Plaza asks, Big Zebra, do you still have contacts in the publishing industry?
I do have a couple. It's not, as I said in the chat, I'm not a big noise in the industry. I wasn't even a person of little power. I was in sales.
You fixed the machine?
No, in publishing, once upon a time, there was such a thing as independent bookstores, and you needed sales reps to go and visit them. And I worked for the Canadian agent for Simon & Schuster. And when I started, independents were about half the market.
Yeah.
And when I was done, independents were now, sometimes they'd be like 5%. And the sum total of superstores, Amazon, and books from non-book distributors. So you go to Costco, and there are piles of books there on a flat table.
Yeah. All right. On that note, I'm going to start wrapping things up because I am literally walking to work after the show is over. So
have a nice walk.
Well, it's raining out today, or at least it's going to rain. So I got to get my I got to gear up. That's what I have to do. I have to gear up for the rain. So good seeing you, Tobin, of course, in 420.
Time
as
flies
long,
when you're skepticizing.
I'm sorry,
Hey,
what?
Time
Yeah,
flies when you're skepticizing.
it truly
Mhm.
does. It truly does. All right, everyone. Shamla Hamla.
Shamla.
Hamala, hamala.
And I'll see y'all later. Take care.
Bye.